Hey Internet, it's RJ. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning into the show today. Now today is Sunday, so you know what that means. We're going around the net with all the news you can use in the week that was in credit and finance. And on the docket for today, don't let the shortened week due to holiday fool you. We still have a few interesting stories to take a look at. We have a new card for Porsche, or Porsche, depending on how you want to say that, from our friends overseas, of course. We have a Bank of America slide that has me hopeful for the future of preferred rewards. And we have the Citi Strata back in the news once again. And we'll close with a fun story about a guy taking rewards points to the extreme that netted himself a Cadillac Escalade EV just about for free. So, of course, if any of that sounds interesting to you, go ahead, press the subscribe button, and let's get to work. Now, this first story, found this link over on Reddit. It doesn't look like this card is US based as of yet, since the annual fee is in euros. However, we're a wide open space for credit cards, and this is, of course, from Porsche, or again, Porsche, however you want to say it. They have a new credit card out. Let's take a look at this, see what our friends overseas are getting. So the new Porsche card, mobility redefined. So they go on to say in their press release, with the new Porsche card, Porsche is setting a milestone for a seamless network and brand-typical exclusive mobility experience. It combines innovative digital services, premium benefits, and iconic design, designed for people who expect more than just a credit card. Lots to live up to. I don't know if anyone just told them it's a piece of plastic, but okay, well, they're not off to a great start, because what do you get? Well, the main thing is it costs 356 euros per year, so that's an annual fee. So not great start, but a lot to live up to. And as far as multipliers, they call it a refund. You get an unlimited refund of 0.25% on almost all card transactions. In addition to that, there's a few other things you get, and their landing page does look good. I'll give them that, hence the Porsche design thing. They break it down. Of course, they've got mobility, lifestyle, Porsche family, peace of mind, charging integration, and cash back. So overall, I mean, again, I just thought this was interesting. The 0.25% back's easy to crush. I think it just also highlights the difference of the credit card space over here versus overseas. Now, we have still seen automotive folks try to make cards over here, so it might be entirely possible that one day this comes over here. I know Porsche does have a big following, so we'll see. I'd also be interested to see if the other brands get into this as well. Maybe it helps you get moved up the wait list to, what is the GTR 3? I don't know the names of all, but there's a few of them that you just can't get outright. Maybe, that's something I think I would add to this, and even in a higher annual fee. If you hit so much and spend, maybe it moves you up the wait list or something. So they could have done more there. Not a whole lot, but that's fine. Now, someone who tried to do a little bit more and it got out of hand very quickly is our old friends at Citi. We've been following this story for quite some time, and it becomes a big deal when the Wall Street Journal picks it up and starts talking about something in our little world. Of course, we're talking about the Citi Strata Elite. If you don't remember when it came out, they had, the public offer, I think, was 80,000 thank you points, but then there was an in-branch offer of 100,000, but there's not a lot of Citi branches around anymore. So folks, as they would imagine, found the link, published the link, and then, they got in, and then Citi was, freaking out, shutting those people down or locking their accounts, sending out requests for tax forms and such. So we now have a little bit more information as to why they were doing this. And it's about what we suspected. So, again, from the Wall Street Journal, if we take a look at this, the quote here, the majority of those affected by this situation use an application they were fully aware was not intended for them in order to circumvent the appropriate channels to improve their chances of being approved for a card and getting special sign-up bonus points, Citi said in a statement. They then shamelessly complained when we took action to protect our bank from their behavior. I like that statement because it's blunt and to the point. I would agree with the first part of it and disagree with the second part of it a little bit, because yes, you 100% know if that link's intended for you or not. They go on to cite sources or cite finding these links on various pages. They interview some folks who say, hey, it's a little bit of a gray area who they actually did it, and they of course say they weren't doing anything wrong. That part for sure, you kind of knew what you were doing, but as I go through it, I didn't know that it would. I wouldn't have thought it would change your approval chances using that link versus not. And I guess that kind of makes sense now why they were initially shutting folks, locking accounts, and requesting tax forms, because for whatever reason this perhaps had a different level of underwriting standards. So they're like, oh no, I had all these people go through this watered down version of underwriting. I need to go back and double check, and the most uptight way I can double check is to get your tax returns. That part makes sense because I was always wondering why did they go hard on the requesting the tax returns instead of just shutting people down. So there's that. I think it's okay. We know how the game works. I've used links online before. Some of the folks they interview in this article go on to say, they didn't know what they were doing or they didn't think it was that bad. The last thing I'll say on this, and I don't think we have to talk about the story again, is that, and the reason why I like this quote is because a lot of times the banks are always, when they do stuff, like when you get your account shut down or things like that, they're scared to tell you any information as to why. And the argument is always like, well, if I tell you why, then it'll help you defeat me next time and sneak in. I think sometimes that's true, sometimes it's not. In this case, I don't think it was actually true. I think, while Citi is justified to say, hey, this link isn't for you, they also kind of cause themselves a lot of headaches. I think, why not just telling people specifically, hey, we're doing this because you use this link and it wasn't meant for you. That probably led to some of the complaints because on the initial part, it seems like, well, you approved me. Why are you doing this after the fact? But if I just told you it's because you use this link, you weren't supposed to. Oh, okay. Well, now I shouldn't complain. But if I don't have a reason, then I'm going to complain. And it seems like, you're being a little bit unjust, I guess you could say. Unreasonable might be a better word. I think that would have been better just to be just straight to the point. Like this quote is to the point when they shamelessly complained about it when we took action. I like the quote. Good for Citi. Hey. Also, last thing. Like, Citi's been around long enough to had to know. This doesn't excuse it. Using the link was a choice, to be sure. But Citi's been around long enough to know this was gonna happen, right? This was a possibility, right? That's the other thing. It doesn't excuse it, but I guess I'm always surprised when they walk in, when a big bank who's been around, who's been a part of affiliate marketing before, what did they think was going to happen? I guess that's my question. You also could have done more to prevent this. Doesn't excuse it. Doesn't blame I don't know if I want to go so far as to call Citi a victim in this case, but I just think, I don't know, it's just a weird situation all around. I like direct quotes. It's much better than the press releases we get. Now, one more credit card story and then our fun story. This one, as you know, from Bank of America, very near and dear to my heart as a Preferred Rewards member of the Platinum Honors tier. As a hardcore cashback person, I've got 4 Bank of America cards, 3 customized cashes, and the unlimited cash. There's a slide that we found, I think Reddit found it, and I found it on Reddit, from their Bank of America Investor Day. This is back in November 5th. So let's take a look at this, because it does reference in a small corner our new rewards program, or next gen rewards, as you'll see. I've got it on screen for you now. So, overall rewards platform, strategic differentiator, and key to operating account, primary, and relationship strategy. That is a lot of words. This just makes me feel like I'm at work right now. Strategic differentiator and key to operating account, primary, drives quality and primacy, enhances deepening and loyalty. I guess. Whatever. So the bottom right, extending industry leadership, coming soon, next gen rewards program, reinventing the loyalty and engagement. So this is very clearly would have to be focused on preferred rewards, right? And maybe the middle box says expected client value preferred rewards right there. And I'm hopeful that they're going to do something with preferred rewards. Now, we have to remember that preferred rewards has to deal with just about all their core products, and that's where the value comes in. I think they just sent me an email that says, look how much money you made saved in preferred rewards, and they're counting all the fees I saved from the checking account, because having a checking account is required. I'm not counting that. But that bar chart they have is misleading in my opinion, because checking accounts, there's enough checking accounts that are free that I'm not going to give you anything. Now, obviously, any points for that. Now, obviously, we only care about the credit card piece. And I've often said, we did a whole video about this a while back, where if I'm Bank of America, is the last true relationship bank, which is you give me more money, I give you better stuff, after smartly embarrassed itself and fell. They've got to be concerned about Robinhood at some point, because, as we've said in that video, so I don't want to belabor the point. The title of it is Robinhood Gold is a threat to legacy banking, I think, if you want to check it out. But, it's too hard for people to get in, young people to get into preferred rewards early on. You need a minimum of $25,000 to get gold, and you don't really get anything in gold anyways. And then it's kind of tops out at $100,000. In the top end, they have a diamond one, but you don't really get that much more for it. So I do think they need to look at something at the bottom end, and I do think they need to look at something at the top end. As far as credit cards go, the unlimited cash I do think needs to be a flat 3%. They're testing it. My hope is that they're testing it right now. I said this before. I got the card again through the intro offer because the intro offer makes the base 1.5x card become 2%. That stacks with your preferred reward status. So for me, for the first year, it's 3.1%. My hope is that they're testing out 3% to see how they can do it. I would think you need to move to 3%. If you want to put a $10,000 a month cap on it or something, by all means, I think that's fine. But you got to do something to combat the Robinhood Gold Card. The average person's not going to care about or even know about this. You can't pay. You don't get points for taxes and things like that I would care about. The customized cash cards topping at 5.25. I think they need to be closer to 6. I would probably just leave them be because even if I look at the landscape, there's not really anyone that I'm competing with you as far as cards that I can select a category, which would be custom cash and then the US Bank Cash Plus card. I think you should bump them up a little bit, but again, I don't think they're going to do that. And the last thing I would do, I would make, if I'm going to do next gen rewards, I would make it simpler to understand. The math you have to do isn't hard math to get. They advertise as like, hey, it's a 75% boost at platinum honors, but people don't do math that way, so they always think, oh my gosh, I'm getting like a 75% interest rate on this account. Like, no, it's not how the math works. They could simplify it as well. So we'll see what they come up with. It's just really good to see Bank of America doing something. Again, I like that they also, with the premium Alaska Airlines card, they did tie into a little bit of their relationship there where you get like, it's like a 10% extra or something boost if you have a Bank of America checking account. So I would like to see that also extended throughout the line. So if nothing else, I think because no one else is really doing this, some slight tweaks would be fine to remain competitive because you're still a large bank. You're still the second biggest bank in the States, I want to say. So there's going to be a lot of people who aren't going to trust Robinhood over you anyways. So I don't think you have to go and just blow them out of the water. But I do think, as we said in that video, you're run the risk of starting to have your new funnel and customer base cut into by services like Robinhood. So we'll see what they come up with. I am very vested in this story, so I hope it's good. I'll keep you posted. Now, last story of the day is not necessarily a credit card story, but this is like a perfect story for a slow holiday week because it involves rewards points stacking. And so General Motors, they do have credit cards, but this one doesn't particularly involve the credit card. So apparently they had this rewards program. I'm going to pull up the article here so I can get this actually correct. So they have a rewards program, and what you can do apparently is you can go and you can do these videos that they have, video learning tutorials and stuff like that, and you can earn points doing these tasks. And apparently you can open as many accounts as you want, do the tasks, and then consolidate them. So I put the article on screen for you. Again, this kind of outlines what folks were doing from GM Authority. So the method was deceptively simple for this rewards point stacking. So for a short time, GM Rewards program offered promotional points from like 13 to 16,000 per account for completing minor tasks like watching videos like we said. The critical flaw emerged when users discovered the system permitted instant unrestricted points transfers between accounts. So this enabled individuals to create multiple accounts, farm the free points, and then consolidate them all into a single account with GM Financial Loan attached. So one owner whose story went viral allegedly amassed about 5 million, almost 6 million points. This way, the owner then paid off a Cadillac Escalade V. I said EV, it's just V apparently. Gamed the system, but one could argue that simply followed the rules of the program were written. So there you go. That is an amazing rewards point stack right there. So now again, it's not necessarily credit card related, although he could have saved himself a little bit of time and gotten one of the GM credit cards that would have added some General Motors points. I assume it's the same points currency. I don't know, but hats off to this guy. That's quite a bit of doing to pay off your almost $60,000 Cadillac Escalade V. Now those things are pretty expensive, so I imagine he had a trade in or he put quite a bit. Putting money down, in my opinion, never really makes sense. I'm going to imagine it was a trade or something. The base Escalades I think start close to 100, so the V versions I got to be in the low hundreds. I'll get some B-roll of an Escalade V for you if you don't know what it looks like, but I love a good reward stack program. It looks like General Motors is going to honor it versus trying to do some crazy clawback. Now, of course, they've already shut this loophole down, so you can't go out and try this. But I love that story. No credit card points, but points nonetheless, and that's part of the game, looking for ways to reward point stack. Overall, hats off to this guy. Enjoy your Cadillac Escalade V. It's pretty sick, and like that's one of the best point stories I've heard in a while. So there you go. That is the news. We still managed to ramble for a few minutes here. So of course, if you like this one, drop me a thumbs up down below. Find it particularly interesting, consider subscribing to the channel. So we're posting content just like this every single week, and of course, right back every Sunday with all the news you can use in the week that was in credit and finance. Of course, every single day over on Profitable.content.com, which is, of course, the channel's blog, always linked down below for you, and on the channel homepage, where we have the latest news stories just like this, plenty of credit card offers and bank promotions. So if you want to find your own way to stack some rewards, well, go get started over there. Anyways, guys, that'll do it for this one. As always, thanks so much for watching. I'll talk to you very soon in the next one.